when he shall appear. Now, brethren, there have always been big events on the divine calendar. They've not always been made known beforehand, but they have always been there. So far as time is concerned, the big event was the creation, when the sons of God rejoiced, and things that were made were not made of things which do appear, but they were spoken into existence. Another big event on the calendar was the flood, which still stands testifying of God's impeccable holiness and hatred of sin. Another event on God's calendar was the giving of the law, which began the time of what Paul called the schoolmaster of the tutoring of humanity through the law concerning righteousness, holiness, atonement, offering, cleanness, uncleanness. The Babylonian captivity was a big event on the calendar. And God's people were held captive by an enemy. John the Baptist, his coming, his preaching, his identifying of Christ was another. In fact, stirred up so much notoriety among the Jews that they even asked if he was the Christ. Yeah. They would tell them, I am not he. Standing above and beyond all of these events on the divine timeline is Jesus' first advent. This is the event that time counted down to. We call that time BC, before Christ. And when he came, then time started counting up, after it was counting down.
Yeah.
Appointed times and appointed seasons have always been set by God. Man has never been consulted in these matters. They've always been determined by God in his wisdom for his purpose and to his glory.
Yeah.
Amen.
And when he shall appear is also on this calendar. When he shall appear tells us that the calendar of time has not yet expired. Tells us that time itself will be fulfilled at his coming.
Yeah. Amen.
Yes.
At his coming, then time will have served its purpose and shall be no more. But until then, we have time.
Yeah.
The return of Jesus is when every eye will see him. It's a time appointed by God, and is also a time only known by God.
Right.
This time, when he shall appear, will end the dispensation of grace and begin the time of judgment. Now is the day of salvation. Now is the time to be rid of sin. Now is the time for forgiveness. Now is the time to receive grace. But when he comes again, that will begin the time of judgment.
Right.
His return will end the time of waiting and start the time of fullness.
Amen.
Yes.
The return of Jesus to the earth will be the end of writing the books, and it will start the time of opening the books.
Yes.
Now is the time when the wheat and tares grow together, but when he shall appear will be the time of separation.
Yeah.
Now is the time when the kingdom, as Jesus said, is as a great net let down into the sea. Now is the time when the net is gathering all manner of fish. Then is the time when the bad will be gathered and separated from the good. Now all kinds of people are coming to the feast, because the servants of the goodman of the house have gone out into the fields and the highways and the byways and gathered all, as many as would come. But when he shall appear, then the guests will be inspected. That's the day of judgment. All the law and the prophets that went before Christ were pointing ahead to the time when he would first come to the earth, made in the likeness of man. God indicated through the law and through the prophets. Moses said, "A prophet like unto me shall your God raise up." Jeremiah talked about the branch Isaiah talked about the man who would be a covert. All the law and the prophets pointed up to the time when he would first come, but now all the gospel and the apostles are now pointing ahead again to a time when he will come again to the earth. So God is indicating again that Christ will yet come again, even as the law and the prophets in times past indicated that he would come to the earth. When he will come again, when he shall appear, will end the time of betrothal between him and his bride, and will commence his wedding, the wedding supper of the Lamb.
Amen.
So even as the law and the prophets birthed the hope of Christ's first coming, now the gospel has birthed the hope of his second coming.
Amen.
I want to make a point of the surety of his coming. If a person is not convinced in his heart and in his spirit that he will come, then there'll be no benefit in going past the point. There'll be no benefit in telling a person of what will happen when he shall appear if he's not convinced first that he will appear.
Amen.
The surety of his coming, again, must be affirmed and confirmed in the hearts of those who are waiting for him. That's
Amen.
what John's doing in his first epistle. He's not trying to convince unbelievers that Jesus will come again. He's reconvincing and affirming to believers that he will come again.
That's right. Amen.
We are now in the time of the kingdom that the king has gone away on a long journey to receive a kingdom for himself, and he has not yet returned. And in the duration, he gave his goods unto his servants. That's the time that we're living in. We're in the time of the kingdom when the bridegroom has tarried for a long season and all the virgins slumbered and slept. That's the time that we are in. Now, Peter wrote about the scoffers who reason upon a false premise that all things from the beginning of time has continued on since they were from the beginning of time. And so they reason on this false premise that since all things have continued, then all things will continue. But the surety of his coming will bring the end. The fact that he is long time in coming does not change the fact that he is coming. There have been generations come and generations gone since he has promised, I will come again.
Yes.
The first generation that heard him speak that promise passed away. The second generation of the people that heard him say that promise, that generation passed away. And the grandchildren of those people who heard him say that, they passed away.
Yeah.
And every generation since then have not yet seen the fulfillment of that coming. But the fact that he's long time in coming has not at all shaken the foundation of the promise